Way down upon the Swanee River, far, far away. That's where my heart is yearning ever, home where the old folks stay, home where the old folks stay.
Welcome to Florida Mint on Florida Man with Greg, Wayne, Josh, and Cameron, the podcast where Floridians discuss the legends, lore, and crazy stories that always seem to take place in Florida.
Sorry,
Welcome.
guys. I had to take a call from my mom right then. During
Nobody
the
would have
intro
known
song.
if you would just not say anything.
We're doing the intro
dumb
music
idiot.
to episode 99, and Cameron picks up the phone and goes, hello.
I knew I had like 30 seconds.
If there was only another way to communicate that wasn't
Right.
speaking out loud.
Smoke signals.
Amen. That's what I was thinking.
I just want to say
feel like
something
If you don't answer the call from your mom,
that is a
that's
bad
pretty
move.
messed up.
I
That's a
haven't
bad-
answered a call from my mom in 10 years. Okay.
Listen, right now we're live streaming for our Patreon subscribers.
right.
Hello.
Hello.
How are you guys? Bless you. Patreon.com, FMOFM podcast.
Love it.
For all the bonus material that you miss, you're going to really be hurting if you go another day without this stuff.
Yes.
right.
right.
I think that means you need to get on Patreon and check it out.
Check it out.
I think that's
But
what
listen,
he's saying.
the live streamers can see this. You guys can't. But right now, Josh has his hair parted a different direction.
Yeah, that's
It's
the type
bold.
of treats that you get.
I've known him for 20 years, and his hair has always been parted to the right.
Right.
Now it's parted to the left.
Well, it was, there was that Drake song, God's Plan.
Right.
Have my hair that one direction.
Right.
But right now,
That's a different band.
Right now, I'm just feeling something different.
You just felt like it needed to go a different way.
I needed to go a different way.
Well, I tell you what, I want to go in the direction of some headlines right now. Is that possible?
Me too.
Let me take you down a path.
Come on.
Okay, headlines.
Take us down the path, Cameron.
Headlines.
All right, let's talk about a Florida man
All right.
who
Yes.
was just trying to be true to himself.
God, every day. I
Every
do that.
day.
This happened in 2018. We're going to throw it back a couple of years to a better time in the world.
Oh, here we go.
Wow.
This Florida man was driving around Polk County when he did something unusual.
Okay.
Okay.
He stopped at a stop sign.
He called the cops.
Okay.
All right. And he told the cops that he was driving drunk.
Good for him.
Oh, it's like a prank?
No, he was driving drunk.
Okay.
He was literally driving down the road after drinking. He was swerving around the different lanes and said, "I'm too drunk. I don't know where I'm at." When the dispatcher asked Michael where he was, and so she said, "Okay, what have you been doing all night?" And he said, "I don't know, driving around trying to get pulled over." Like he was trying to cause attention to
my
get
goodness.
himself pulled over. So he's like, "I'm actually driving on the wrong side of the road right now."
Okay.
Okay.
And so he's being honest.
I like it, dude.
There are other options.
Right.
So,
What is
call
the
it-
other option?
don't drive.
don't pull over and stop.
Right. That was her advice. The dispatcher, he said, okay, I can do that. And so he stopped in the middle of the road and literally parked in the middle of the road.
Okay. Hopefully
So-
he put his flashers on.
I like how literal he is, though.
Right.
The brain is a weird thing. Let
Yeah.
me tell you, like this guy,
Right.
like when I was working in the lab
Okay.
and I felt myself coming down with heat stroke,
Right.
there
called
were
the
other,
cops.
there were other people in the lab and I knew I was about to pass out.
Mm-hmm.
So instead of telling them, I positioned myself in a way where I would fall off my chair and make a loud enough racket where they would
Right.
be alerted.
You don't want to like fall softly to
No.
where nobody notices.
You've
Right.
never fallen softly in your life. But
No.
my thing is, why are you so afraid to ask for help?
I don't know. So I just went outside and got a cool breeze.
That's all
No,
I
what
needed.
happened, though? Did you pass out?
No, I took my lab coat off.
Okay.
And I walked outside.
Drank some water.
And I drank some water. And I felt better. But I remember sitting at the edge of the stool, scooting over, going, Okay, it's gonna happen any minute.
Wait, so I love that because one of the tropes on our show is how many jobs Josh has had
Right.
before being a professional
Yeah, that's true.
podcaster, and so now that he used to work in a lab wearing a coat.
Yes.
So you've been a scientist.
I worked at a distillery making alcohol.
Oh, okay.
The best kind of scientist.
You're a booze
That
scientist.
could have been part of the problem. I was feeling lightheaded.
You're testing
Right.
the material.
He was
You do.
drinking too
Yep.
much.
So this guy pulled over in the middle of the road, or stopped in the middle of
He
the road.
parked in the middle of the road. Got the police finally got there. Started talking to him, and he did admit to drinking some beer.
Yeah.
And swallowing some meth. And
Okay, there it is.
Okay.
And also said he had barely slept for several days. So I think it sounds. I feel bad for him because it does sound like it was kind of like a cry for help.
For sure. No, I think it
I
was.
think that's exactly what it was.
Literally.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, I'm glad that he got that help, and
Absolutely.
hopefully 2 years later now he's doing better. But if this happens where you find
Yeah.
yourself drinking and driving,
Or feeling like you have heat stroke.
right, just stop,
Stop.
pull over,
Yeah.
That's
take
what
your
I
lab
did.
coat off,
That's what I did.
drink some water.
I love it. What
Maybe
a great
some
one.
coffee.
Drink some water.
Good for
Amen.
him, dude.
All right, next one.
Okay.
This one was sent in quite a bit this week, where we have a Florida duo, two
on,
Florida
a
men,
duo.
A twofer.
a twofer, two Florida men in Central Florida. They're calling the dumbest thieves of the week.
Yeah.
All right.
How dumb were they?
Oh, super. So Robert Hobby, 41 years old, and Marcus Reeves, 23. Okay.
Okay. Well, there's an age gap for
A little
friendship.
bit. Yeah. Just like kind of you and me.
Yeah. Well, my best friend Herbie, he's 72.
Right.
So I get it.
Big age jump. Anyways, these two guys were going around Ocala in the surrounding area, breaking into stores, stealing cigarettes and lottery tickets. Which I feel like one of the dumbest things that you could probably steal, because you're stealing something that's possibly worth nothing.
That's
Right.
I mean, you're literally gambling by. The
Yes.
gamble is I might get some money, but I'll probably also go to jail.
So there's the money safe there.
Right.
There's the lotto tickets and
Yeah.
there's cigarettes, and they're like, get the lotto
right.
tickets,
Let's
you idiot.
spend hours scratching all these off to see if we break even.
And I wonder if you win something big, there's probably a way to trace it.
Exactly.
So
You have
can't
to
even turn
file
it
your
in.
name.
Yeah.
Right. Well, it gets
There it
they
goes.
get dumber because one of the guys accidentally left a shoe and some tools at one of the crime
shoe?
a shoe at one of the crime
Bless you.
scenes.
that-
The other guy, the younger one, Reeves, though, he left his wallet and his driver's license.
Perfect. Okay.
Right. So deputies found him really easy.
He's like,
when
they usually card me for these. so
exactly
Right.
I don't want to I don't want to break the rules.
He had
leave
it
it behind.
ready. He didn't want to have to. He didn't want to have to wait for the person to ask and be like, "Okay, hold on, let me get my wallet."
Exactly.
Was he wearing b-ball shorts?
Probably for sure. Yeah. Now he's wearing like jail clothes. But
Get 'em.
yeah, officers went to his house, found him easily by knocking on the door.
He was
at his
scratching off
home
tickets.
address. Yeah, he was covered in that like silver powder from scratch offs.
They had to uncover him.
yeah,
right.
Like, sir.
He's like, I didn't win nothing.
They had like 14 charges combined for grand theft and burglary. So yeah, not a smart pair, but
Dumbest crooks of the week.
they
You
did
know,
it
I'm
together
normally
though.
not-
Friends.
I'm not a fan of locking up nonviolent offenders.
Sure.
Right.
But I feel like if we didn't with these two, they would probably just continue to wreak havoc.
Yeah, they're too dumb.
Yeah, they're too dumb to
Right.
be out in public.
You're too
That's what I'm
dumb to
saying.
live amongst civilization.
That's yep. There it is. That's
Yeah.
my
They're
point.
probably super smart.
Super smart. Yeah.
Super smart. All right, next one.
Come on.
Super smart.
So let's talk about a rock group that pays homage to the most frightful character in their history.
Oh,
Hanson.
well, Hanson.
Okay.
Yeah.
Not the
gonna
most
say-
frightful band.
Jimmy Eat Rock. Right.
Jimmy
Right.
Rock. So Blue Oyster Cult.
Okay, come on.
Okay.
Man.
They recently released a song called Florida Man.
No
okay.
way. Good for them.
Wow.
So
Carry
the
on.
classic rock group Blue Oyster Cult, they've done songs about like other like nightmarish things
Georgia
or like
Man.
iconic like villains like the Grim Reaper, Godzilla, okay, Joan Crawford, Rising from the Grave, all those kind of
Jeez
things
Louise,
where
that's
they
rude.
do these specific like
Yes.
spooky things or scarier things.
Right.
They had like a really popular popular live album that they recorded in a spooky venue. Okay. So they've always
Okay.
kind of done stuff like that. Well, the lead singer said, I wanted to write a song about the Florida Man as a folk legend, like Pecos Pete or Paul Bunyan.
Right.
And he
Pecos
wanted to present the Florida Man as somewhat sympathetic. So it's kind of interesting. He said that he imagined that there was a reason for Florida Man's behavior as a person. Okay. And
I
so
like this.
This is getting more and more interesting.
so the Blue Oyster Cult song tells a story of an ancient Seminole curse dating back to the conquistadors that was kind of put on Florida men in general, and that might be a reason why they have these tendency to do these crazy things.
I feel like Blue Oyster Cult is trying to spoil my story.
Right? They're on to you.
I love it.
So anyways, they kind of, Josh loves Blue Oyster Cult.
I'm a big fan.
He does.
Sing one of their songs for us.
I got the blue.
Right.
Oyster Cult.
I didn't
You
want
got
to
it.
ruin the other
He had
part.
it.
Grim Reaper. How does that one go?
And then there's like drums in it. They go
Right.
He's grim.
So if you can't envision what the song Grim Reaper is, it's the cowbell song from the Will Ferrell skit.
Oh, that
Yeah.
okay.
Okay. So anyways, so here's some of the lyrics from the Florida Man song.
Okay.
All right.
Give it
So
to
it
us.
opens with, should you settle down in the Sunshine State,
Yes.
you should know its tangled fate. How the conquistador came to Florida long before it had a name. The medicine man of the Seminole knelt at the sacred flame, and he cursed the soul of the conquistador.
Is it possible we could hear it almost
Legally,
sung?
no.
Not with the music.
Oh no, you
sung
can't.
a cappella.
You can't afford me.
Dang.
He
Anyways,
just made us perform.
I know.
I'm not going to read all of them, but the last line is so good. Okay?
It says Greg, Wayne, Josh, and Cameron.
So you're gonna ruin. He gonna ruin the ending for us.
You ruin the ending. It says, "Don't you laugh? It could be you. The Seminole curse always comes true. You can jeer, but you don't understand that any fragile soul can be the Florida Man."
Whoa.
They stole that from me. They stole that from
You
me.
wrote that.
Do you
in your
remember
diary?
our interview with that one magazine?
I do.
What was the first line in it? It was my line.
Don't jeer. Don't be a soul.
That's not it.
Every man could be a Florida man.
Right.
But that was the premise. I said
What?
that if it's your time, you could be Florida Man.
That is true. No, he said when it's your time, you may be a Florida
I don't know
man.
if I said when. I said if.
But either
I'm
way,
not big on the
spirit's
W.
same.
So you need to get some royalties.
We
then.
need to sue that
everybody.
Oh, just calm down. All right. You took that super literal.
Calm down.
All right, so let's go to the next one real quick.
Okay.
We have Florida Man
Mm,
who dressed up as Rambo,
That's fine.
shoots up a bar.
That's
okay.
not- you don't want to do that.
And
Rambo
still-
wouldn't do that. Rambo was a friendly.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
He only
fought
shot
for
up
the people.
foreigners.
Right.
He did.
I understand. Foreigner to wherever he was. Right.
He was in their land in most situations.
I haven't seen the movies in a long time.
It's been a long time. But anyways, Florida Man dresses up as Rambo, shoots up a bar, and then still gets his butt kicked.
Oh, wow.
So
Well, good.
This Florida man, Daniel, he was at this bar, okay, kind of hanging out. Apparently, somebody kind of made him mad. He
Okay.
got offended by something, so he
Yep.
goes home, gets a Uzi style assault weapon, got some ammo, put a bandana on. He
Jeez
had 2 hunting
Louise.
knives.
You have to contractually.
Right. He had a pair of hunting knives strapped to his belt. Comes back to this bar, starts shooting. Or actually, I don't even think he starts shooting yet. But when he walks in, these guys,
They
like
make
these
fun of
2
him again?
like built guys, just literally immediately grab the barrel, push it down, and literally just beat the tar out of him. I mean,
Good.
they
Absolutely
whooped
good.
on him. One of the guys actually did get stabbed in the face with one of the hunting
the-
knives. He's like, he gets off one shot, takes out one knife, stabs me in the face. There was a lot of blood.
Jesus.
But literally, this guy got whooped. I mean, he was dressed as Rambo with an Uzi style
wow.
assault weapon. Didn't get any real shots in.
Alcohol was it
without-
involved?
I would assume, but like just because you can dress up as a man,
I know.
doesn't
And
mean that you
I've
can
dressed
be
up
the
as a
man.
lot of things, and I've
You
never
have.
performed equally to the part.
Right,
But good on
like a corn dog.
Yeah,
Right.
My favorite food.
I was going to say the Southern Belle outfit you had.
Right.
I think I nailed that
You
performance.
performed
though.
equally in that.
They didn't kick me out of Cypress Gardens for like 6 weeks.
Right.
You did
But
well.
I was living
Good on
there.
those two men who saved the lives of a ton of people.
Exactly.
Shame on
they-
this guy.
It was like instant. They didn't think about it. They literally just jumped in.
I feel
and
like I
took
wouldn't
action.
have those instincts if a guy came in with 2 blades and a gun. I don't know if I'd be like, let me grab that point.
Everybody thinks they'd run into a burning building until you feel the heat.
Oh,
I don't have this to say.
I don't know. That's probably the next Blue Oyster Cult song.
Why don't we just end it with
We
that?
can end it
Yeah,
with that.
let's end it
Yeah,
with
just
that.
cut it.
Hello, fellas.
Hey, Josh.
So
You look great.
I did a little. I moved my part back over.
I know.
I knew I was feeling
I
weird.
feel comfortable.
I don't. So I was doing a little fan service, I call it.
Okay.
Reaching
Explain.
out to the fans.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Like, hey, have you heard my show?
I thought you meant like dusting, like your ceiling fan.
I probably
you
should.
were
though.
harassing our listeners.
Yes.
On social media.
We were talking about this creeptastic month of
October.
October.
Mm-hmm.
And they said, what scary movies do you plan on watching?
Right.
Do you have a fave?
Mm.
Or do you just enjoy scary movies in general?
Yeah. What'd you say?
And I said, that's a good assignment for the boys. I'm going to ask the boys what movies they're going to watch for the month of October
Right.
Let's do it.
to get in the mood. And of course, Cameron's like, Hocus Pocus. I
Right.
love Bette Midler.
The Goonies.
The Goonies.
Nightmare Before Christmas, he said.
Nightmare Before Christmas.
Stranger Things before it gets scary.
Dinosaur. The
Right.
Pixar flick.
I actually, I enjoyed this assignment because I like scary movies for the most part.
Yeah, and I always try to get y'all to watch movies. Scary movies isn't my forte.
And I couldn't probably name 2 scary movies that you've watched.
Well, I've walked out of them with y'all before.
That's
Yeah.
a fun fact because
Yeah,
we went and
actually.
saw Paranormal Activity.
Like the original.
Yeah, the OG
yeah.
Paranormal
The OG.
Activity before anybody knew that it wasn't fake.
Yes.
Like it was still rumored to be found footage.
it was
like,
Hype Street.
It's
Yeah.
still real to me.
It is. Yeah. We
It
went to
is.
go see that and Josh
Well, I
was-
hadn't prayed in like 6 years.
until
That was
that
the
movie.
problem.
But then I prayed that
And now
movie.
you pastor a church.
And then I saw well, it's not that type of church.
Right.
But then I saw the dumb footprints in the movie.
That was a bad part of it. But who's going first? Who wants to share their scary movie they watched for the show?
I think you go.
Yeah, I think you go.
I watched a movie called
Toy
Witch,
Story? Oh, Witch.
and they spell it with 2 V's, kind of artsy.
Vitch?
So Vitch.
Yeah,
The
Vivitch.
the
Vitch.
No, it was
Wasn't
really
that
good.
one of the Scandinavian guys in your story?
Yeah.
He didn't mention that on the air.
No.
I watched the movie Witch. They spell it with 2 V's, like Vivitch.
Vitch.
Vivitch.
That just sounds like a typo.
I know. But it takes place kind of like in the, like how you would imagine the Salem witch trials.
Okay.
Everybody's
Oh,
dressed
the
like
Salem
pilgrims.
Vivitch.
Right, exactly. And this family, they are excommunicated. They've broken some rules. They're no longer allowed to live in the village and do village things.
Yep.
So they live now on the outskirts of town, just near the woods.
Okay.
And basically what happens, they're kind of pioneer families. The oldest daughter is out just doing chores and stuff with a newborn baby. And she's playing peekaboo with the baby. And like on the second time doing peekaboo, she opens her eyes and the baby's gone.
Oh.
She
That's
did it
not
too
how
long.
peekaboo normally goes.
You can't do it for an hour.
Right,
It's not
and-
fun.
And here's the thing, just a disclaimer, because we forgot to give one. There's going to be spoilers here if you don't want to
yeah.
know anything about the movies.
For the Vitch.
Right. I'll get to mine.
Okay. Well, I was
Yeah,
just trying
each
to
one's
give
going to
them a-
have spoilers.
Yes, sure.
And so
Thanks
the-
for playing along, jerk.
So the baby's gone, and what happens is the girl has no excuse. She's just basically saying like, "Hey, like,
I was playing peekaboo.
yeah." And now the baby's gone, and so the mom begins to distrust her and starts kind of losing her mind because she's lost the baby.
Mm-hmm.
And what's crazy is the movie has like no jump scares. It's just like psychological, like, did she really do something to the baby? And we saw like a different perspective or something, you know?
Now,
I feel like baby stuff is always so scary.
yeah,
It's
during
so
that scene, are
heavy.
we also blind? Like we don't know what happened to the baby, or do you see what happened?
like
to
does
the
the
baby?
camera do peekaboo?
That's true. You
Does
don't
the
see,
camera do peekaboo?
Right.
Yep.
Basically, you don't see what happens to the baby. The shot is actually from the baby's POV, kinda. So you see the lady doing
Okay.
peekaboo. So you're not seeing what's happening on the ground.
Okay.
But throughout the movie, it gets more and more tense, and it walks that fine line to where you're thinking as the viewer, is this psychosis or is it something paranormal / spiritual?
Right.
Like, have they lost their mind? Is there a ghost involved? Is it really a witch situation?
Like Field of Dreams is like that.
Perfect.
Like, is that a real
It's
angel?
a great example.
Thank
Rookie
you.
of the year.
Rookie of the year.
But basically,
Different.
if you like horror movies that have some like, it's a good movie outside of just being a horror movie. So I would say, which is a great film.
Okay.
It's not a good scary film. It's just a great film. But with that being said, it is not for the faint of heart.
Oof.
It's one of the most disturbing films psychologically I've ever seen in my
It's
life.
2 hours of peekaboo.
I don't
It's
like
2
that.
hours of peekaboo. Now, I will say this: there is this. It sounds kind of funny talking about it, but
Yeah.
there's this. They have a goat. One of the only things they have because they're
Because goats produce milk,
Right.
butter.
right. Well, they're excommunicated
Cheese.
and they don't have a ton
Friendship.
of resources.
Friendship.
So they have one goat and they call him Black Phillip.
Okay.
He's a black goat and his name's Philip.
Okay.
So they're not very creative. But the oldest daughter, as her family begins to pull away from her because of the missing baby, she kind of spends more time and befriends Black Phillip.
Why
Cameron
wouldn't
hit it
ya?
on the head. And yeah, spends more time outside with him, that kind of stuff. And I don't want to spoil the whole film, but I just want to say that the ending is absolutely mind blowing. It is a huge payoff, and if you're patient enough to kind of make it through the film and
don't think I am.
and kind of just immerse yourself, the last 15 minutes is one of the most creepy, scariest bits of cinema I've ever seen.
Would it be fair to say I can just watch the last 15 minutes?
No, you need the build up.
You need the peekaboo.
Yeah,
I don't want the build
And the
up.
goat.
but
the
that's what
thing.
makes it. You have to submit yourself to the atmosphere for you to kind of fully experience the scare.
Okay. I guess
You know what I mean?
Right.
No, not at all.
That's like
I'll probably
saying
never
I
watch
want to
it.
walk backwards through the exit of a haunted house
Yes, I do.
and step
Yes.
forward 2 feet and say, "Oh, I went through that."
Yes, that's exactly what I
It wouldn't
wanna
be
do.
scary. Cameron, what movie did you watch?
All right. So here's the thing. I don't remember the last scary movie that I watched, but I also
Oh, thanks for participating.
don't remember the
Sweet.
last movie period that I watched.
This is what I'm
I have
talking
a-
about, listeners.
Right. I don't
when
listen.
I send an assignment,
Exactly.
it gets no respect.
I did it.
No replies.
I filed it in the to-do part of my email.
You know what I get?
But then I deleted
get
it.
6 days later. Your phone's acting up. Did you send me a text?
Listen, I did it.
You did it.
This guy didn't
This
do
guy.
it.
So here's the thing. So this is how I always start watching movies. I
sit down
start
in front of the TV.
I sit down, start scrolling and trying to decide what I'm going to watch, or I'll look it up on my phone. And then like 30 minutes later, I'm like, I don't want to watch a movie. So here's what I did. I Googled it. Best horror movies.
Wow.
For an
and I'm like,
icebreaker.
I'm going to go big.
He's going
right?
big, baby. Let's see.
Yeah,
what he
best
picked.
horror movie to talk about on your podcast. And so what is number one? Like all time
Dunstan checks in.
classic horror film,
Dunstan checks in.
Vitch.
Jaws.
Wow.
Oh,
All right. So here's the thing.
Okay.
I get it.
I will
because
say that-
people are going to be like, Jaws, that's not that scary.
Jaws, yeah.
people had PTSD when that movie came out.
Right.
They
So
wouldn't go in the water
you're
for a long
right.
This
time.
happened in 1975.
Wow.
Okay. And like never been done before. Now, like what, 50 years later, it's like, okay, we
Sharks
get
are
it.
everywhere.
Right.
Yeah, we can see what it is. We get like what's going on in like cinema and stuff. But in my classes when I teach music, I bring up Jaws all the time when I'm talking about like composing music for like film or like
Bass
little
lines.
videos.
Yeah.
And but like how much that movie created tension
For
just
sure.
from like two notes, like
score.
a 2-note
Yeah.
soundtrack, like a score is insane.
Is there another 2-note soundtrack in cinema?
That,
is equally-
famous and that good? No.
No.
I mean, literally how well that built tension
pop
and
culture.
like, oh, it's just so good.
Do you
But
want to go through your lesson?
I don't
think
think-
we'll all be intrigued.
I could, yeah, yeah. So I don't think that would be like my top thing that came up if I thought like horror film.
yeah, no.
Like I don't think, especially if you're talking about like around October, it's not spooky. It's like people in the summer at the beach.
That's true.
You know,
But it's scary, though.
It's literally probably the scariest thing that happened in that time. And
is
so if you've never seen it, honestly, like I'm not sure how you've
how
you've gotten
you just
through
never had a
life.
TV.
Right, but the whole premise is giant shark that's like hunting people on the beach, and people don't believe the hype, which kind of comes back and backfires. But honestly, one of the scarier things was, however many years later after I saw this, I learned that it was based on true events.
I know, that's what's terrifying.
And that's what
They
really
didn't
gets
think
it.
sharks were.
The New Jersey shark attacks.
I love it.
were like a real thing. Josh told us about it to listen to a podcast about it.
Finally,
And
the guys did
honestly,
it.
one of the most interesting things, but like literally shark attacks happening in New Jersey along these hotels in the summer. People are out there just swimming like a bellhop and like up rivers. I mean, it was insane. Like that summer, like just
8 miles up a river.
yeah, and they're like killing
Attacked a
kids.
group of boys.
Yeah, and just to refresh my memory, didn't they figure out that it was predatory? They were doing it for sport, basically.
Yeah.
They were just killing people because they thought it was fun.
Right.
Like, it's crazy.
They were sharks.
And that's what they say that like Jaws was kind of based around. But honestly, the idea of like a big shark in the water attacking is already like scary in itself. So like
This is true.
for me, going to the beach, it's a horror movie.
Yeah.
100%.
Like I hate it.
Absolutely.
I don't want to be there. There might be something that
Yeah,
attacks
if you've ever
me.
been taken out in a boat out into the dark water,
right.
and then they're like, "You go swimming." I'm like,
No one wants to do that.
No.
But I want to say, too, I think another reason why Jaws, I mean, it's a pop culture phenomenon, like you
Right.
said, the score. But also, too, back then when those movies came out, I don't think parents were as censored as they are now. So
It was
there's
PG too.
And it was PG. So there was a really good chance as an 8-year-old you would see Jaws, and then you're like,
Right.
well, I'm not swimming ever.
I'm never going to the
Like, why
beach.
would you do
No.
that? Like, it's terrifying.
No, not a chance. And then they had the ride. The ride was fun.
The ride was fun, but listen, as a child with anxiety, I'm just saying,
Yeah.
MGM Studios that used to be in
Oh.
Florida,
They
every
killed it.
ride was a movie ride,
Yep.
and every ride terrified me. And the Jaws one was nightmare fuel.
Universal. Yeah.
King Kong would get right in your face.
What would he
Jaws
say
get
to you?
right in your face. Hey, buddy. How's the ride going?
Josh, what did you have for us?
So I watched a movie called The People Under the Stairs.
What is that?
That is a Wes Craven flick from, let me see, the Wikipedia, 1991.
Nice.
Oh, I thought it was late. That's funny. I
Yeah.
thought it was sooner than that, actually.
No. And you can tell when they actually show the people under the stairs, you're like, this isn't well done. I don't-
I'm not scared
I'm
anymore.
not scared at all. So it kind of opens where this black family is getting evicted from their apartment. They learn that the landlord, this conservative white couple, they are the landlords,
Okay.
and supposedly they have treasure at their house. So Ving Rhames and this character Fool and his burglar partner decide that they're going to break in and
To get the treasure.
To get the treasure,
Right.
And it's the type of house where they break in and then the walls come down and it locks them in.
It's a trap house.
It's a real trap house.
right.
So the conservative couple, you see a scene where the guy's walking through in a full bondage outfit, and he's just got a shotgun and he's shooting the walls because one of the people under the stairs got loose and was living in the walls.
What?
Yeah, and
Sounds
then,
like a fever dream.
These are like full size people.
These are full-size people.
Okay.
Oh yeah. And they keep them down there and they're dungeoned, and then they feed them human corpses and carcasses. Yeah, it's
Movies
wild.
hit different back in the 90s,
Yeah,
dude.
what the heck?
But he goes, they finally catch the little black boy named Fool. His full name is Poindexter for some reason,
Yeah.
nickname Fool. And he's like, the white father goes, I'm gonna put him down there with the people under the stairs.
I don't like that.
That threw me off because I was like, if it's me,
Yeah.
I'm not gonna call them by some formal name.
Right.
Like
They have
I'm
a title.
Yeah, I'm just gonna say I'm putting them down there with the Edie's.
Yeah. The nom noms.
Yeah, I'm not gonna say the people under the stairs.
Right.
Right.
So that
Like
took
that
me
line.
out. Yeah,
Right.
that
That
took me
removed
out.
you from the spook.
Yeah, I was like, this isn't real.
Were you watching this by yourself?
Okay, thanks. Yes, obviously I was.
But I'm saying I watch mine by myself because my wife won't watch scary movies. But I'm
Right.
saying with the lights off, like were you trying to set the mood?
No,
Okay.
I haven't tried to set the mood for a long time.
That explains it.
So It's weird. I mean, one scene that stuck with me was the young girl. She's forced to take a hot, steamy bath, and they're like pushing her down in the water, and you can tell that the water's really hot because steam.
Oh yeah,
Right, it's
And
steamy.
as a bath boy, you know,
You are
You're
a
like,
bad
that
boy.
looks comfy.
You can spot hot water from a mile
I can
away.
spot hot water. One thing you guys know about me.
He can look at water and say that's either hot or cold.
Right.
Amen.
Pretty
Yep.
quickly.
So I watched that, and I watched another classic called The Haunting.
Okay.
I
Who's in
like
that?
it because Owen Wilson has his normal funny ha-has in there.
Right.
Hey.
That's a really good Owen Wilson impression. But so
And Catherine Zeta-Jones.
there it is. That's
Yeah.
the female lead.
And Liam Neeson.
Really?
Really?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Before
He's the
action
doctor.
star.
Yeah.
I think honestly, like when you think about scary movies from your childhood, obviously, I think that's what sets the tone for a movie being scary. Like when you originally watched it,
That was it.
makes a big difference. And I think for us, like you guys pick classics like Jaws and
Thank you.
and People Under the Stairs.
We're
Like those
classy
are
people.
yeah,
We are.
yeah, you are. But I think the reason why we mentioned this earlier with us three going to see Paranormal Activity,
Right.
the reason why that was so frightening is because that happened to us as grown men. Like we were seeing a scary movie
Yeah.
that affected us, like I don't know, like in real
Right, in our
time.
20s?
I wasn't.
No. You
I was
were
like
13?
15.
Yeah, 15.
But still, you're old
You were
enough.
a cool 15
I was old enough
year
to be scared.
Yeah.
Like the movies that scared me growing up, if I watch them now, they don't hit the same way.
Right. Like for instance, Jaws.
Exactly.
It doesn't hit the same. Like
Mhm.
now it's more, it hits as like pop culture, like you were saying.
Sure.
But
Mhm.
like if you watched it like in theaters, I
No,
can only
not a
imagine
chance,
like
yeah.
the reaction in
And
theaters.
you know when that two-tone hit?
And because I know
in
the,
the
reaction
theater?
that we had, I haven't watched a horror movie in theaters since Paranormal Activity.
Probably. Yeah.
Same. I remember Josh trying to leave the whole time, and he leaned over to me at one point in time and said, "I just want to go play some games in the foyer."
Well, they had Crazy Taxi.
Right.
They did.
So-
But you know what, though? You know what added to the mystique? That night that we were there, again, everybody thought it was real.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was
Everybody
packed.
believed it was
Yep.
found footage, and
Right.
people were literally getting up and walking out the
Oh, yeah.
entire
Yeah.
time.
Yep.
That was
from
Josh.
from fright, not from like this movie sucks, but
Yeah.
from
Yeah,
I'm over
I was
this.
because it sucked. I was like, this sucks.
He's like, I'm not scared. Come walk with me.
Please, I'm begging you.
Seb Tate was born October 21st, 1875 in Carabel, Florida.
1875.
1875.
Carolina.
150-ish.
No one said Carolina.
Carolina.
Yeah, so his name is Seb, C-E-B. Last name Tate.
Got it.
He was born in 1875 in Carabel, Florida.
Oh, Carol Bell.
Oh, the deer.
Right.
Right. Seb was raised on a small farm that sat alongside the edge of a huge forest area in Florida.
Okay.
Oh, peekaboo.
Oh,
Mhm.
jeez.
And like most forested areas in our state, the area was also very swampy. So to kind of
Naturally.
paint a picture for people who have never ventured into the woods in Florida, if it rains just a little bit, it becomes kind of, swampy.
Wet. Yeah.
Yeah, it gets wet.
But if
For
it's
sure.
an area that rains pretty often,
Mhm.
then you can almost guarantee that it is wet and dangerous year round, which oddly enough, they used to say that about Cameron in high school. That he
Right.
was
Wow.
wet and
I was wet
dangerous
and
year
dangerous
round.
Just year round.
Right. So
Only in
this-
high school.
right, not in college. Settle down. But basically, this was the life that Seb Tate was used to. Okay,
Yep.
pioneering Florida, living on the land near the swamp. They knew how to do it, right? So we've talked about this on our show before.
Okay.
They would hunt the animals, fish the waters. They knew what was poisonous and what was not.
Mhm.
So living next to the wilderness wasn't that big of a deal to them.
Yeah. Supposedly deer antler. Like, it's no good to eat. It's
You don't
poison.
eat deer antler.
Supposedly it's
My
poison.
dog loves it, but
Does he?
You don't want to do that. But basically, Seb Tate's home was next to this gigantic forest. Seb's father was a farmer called Jebediah, and his mother was a lady named Nico, who was a full-blooded Seminole.
right.
Okay.
So Jebediah was dad. Seb
Is the son.
Yep.
Seb is the son.
it was short for Sebediah.
Oh,
I hope not. And Nico was his mother, who was Seminole.
Right.
Wow.
And in fact, Nico, the mom, was from the tribe of Seminoles that lived deep in the swamp near the Tate family farm.
Perfect.
Okay, so she kind of taught them the ropes.
I think so. That's how they survived. So now one thing I want to point out is there are a lot of ancient Seminole legends in our state. Like even to this day, they're still around. But back in 1875, there were a lot of people who governed their lives by the legends and laws of First Nation people. Okay,
Well, I mean, they're the most knowledgeable in the area.
That's
exactly.
probably, yeah.
But what I mean is there's like a mythos involved.
Gotcha. Yeah.
So like Seb Tate's family living next to this swamp, having a mother who's Seminole, they basically live by these laws themselves. And so one of the laws was that you always take care of the land and the land will take care of you.
Perfect.
Okay.
Pretty
I can see
basic.
that,
We should live by that today.
I wish we did.
Don't get preachy.
Listen, treat your animals with respect.
Okay.
And the swamp will provide an abundance of food and protection for you.
Okay.
That's another law. And
yeah.
the third law was never betray the laws of the swamp or death will find you and the ones you love.
Whoa.
Okay.
Okay.
Don't betray the laws of the swamp.
Can I get
Can we get a
clarification
list
on what are the laws of the swamp?
Can I get it written out?
Right.
I need these printed.
Right. So
Laminated.
there was this kind of idea that if you slipped up even a little bit in dishonoring
The swamp will take you down.
the swamp,
You're
and
dead.
the swamp's
You're
going to
dead.
bust you up.
Yes,
Okay.
it will.
So obviously that last rule is a bit ominous.
Right.
Yes.
But back in Seb Tate's day, they just believed like if you did anything that harmed the land, it's the land's going to mess you up. That's
So
just how it
Seb's
was.
walking through, sprains his ankle, and he's like, the swamp.
Well, kind of, because Seb and Jebediah, they hunted and they fished in the swamp in the woods.
Yeah.
They're familiar
Yeah.
with it, but they respected it. Basically, these are what they believed would happen if you broke the laws of the swamp. These are the scenarios that might happen.
Okay.
Famine could come upon your house.
Right.
Yes.
They believe that the animals of the swamp would become deformed, very large, and violent towards you.
Okay.
Wow. Yep. Okay.
Alligators, we're talking.
Oh, that's okay.
Or good old-fashioned disease would just infect
Good
your
old
family.
Oh,
fashioned.
jeez.
Swamp
Okay, so-
takes its pick. It's like, I can give you.
Right.
Yeah, so
You're
if you break
getting
the laws of the
disease.
swamp, there could be a gigantic mutant animal that chases you and eats you.
Hopefully, it's a shrimp because I would eat that thing.
Eat it back.
Yeah.
When the shrimp eat you,
A
you
big,
eat the shrimp
a
back.
big giant shrimp.
Right.
Baby.
So that's what they believed. With that being said, when Nico, Seb's mother, passed away from scarlet fever,
Oh, that was strike one against the swamp.
well, Seb and his father Jebediah believed that they had somehow broken one of the laws.
Okay, so they blame themselves.
Well, they started blaming each other.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
they're distrusting one another.
So the father and the son are blaming each other.
Right.
Right, because they feel like mom, who's very smart, she knows the
Yeah.
land.
She could have
She-
lived forever if it wasn't for
Yeah,
you.
it wasn't her fault.
Right, she gets this fever and dies suddenly. We know now it's scarlet fever. Back then, they think it's this curse.
Right.
So they start distrusting one another.
Hmm.
So what you have essentially is two men living under the same roof, each
Losing their
believing,
freaking mind.
yeah, that the other one's responsible for the death of Nico.
Right.
Okay.
You know
that's
how
sad.
hard a good night's sleep would be?
They're,
that
like
point.
wondering if Jebediah is going to come down there with a stick
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or Sebediah.
or Sebediah.
He was vicious.
Right. So there's this like quiet animosity brewing, between these two men. But about 2 weeks after Seb's mother, Nico, passed away, the Seminole tribe that she belonged to, they leave the swamp and they come pay a visit to the family farm.
Oh,
Okay.
no.
So they've caught wind that she's passed
Were
away.
they trying to weekend at Bernie's, Nico?
Well, no.
jeez.
Basically,
She's
this
fine.
this is the tribe that she's from.
Okay.
They're coming here now, and they believe the same laws of the swamp as Jebediah and Seb.
Uh-oh.
So they're going,
Justice.
basically,
Oh, God
we don't
bless.
care which one of you did it, but we know someone did it. She
Right.
wouldn't have just died on her own.
Jeez.
So they want to speak to the father, Jebediah. He's the head of the household. And basically, the chief says, because Nico, one of our own, has passed away on your
goodness.
watch,
Oh, goodness.
neither you nor your son Seb are ever allowed to enter the swamp again.
Hold on. These are the rules I was asking for when I married Nico. I said, just print them out.
She didn't make
Is
it
there
clear.
anything I need to be worried about?
Exactly.
And you said, no, you don't.
Right.
And I was like, are you sure? Because I'm going to marry Nico.
Right.
And you guaranteed that I would be good.
I know. Well, that's what's happened. So now they can't hunt or fish in the surrounding area
That's going to be an issue.
That's
where
gonna
they
be a
live. That's how they
Right.
survive.
And man meat is like, it's very
No
like,
good.
Yeah, it's
Very
no good.
peppery.
It's very taboo also at this
Right.
time.
So both men argue with the Seminole chief, basically begging him to reconsider.
That's a
and
good
show
way
mercy.
to get.
Yeah,
on
I
the
know.
side.
And he does decide to show mercy. But he kind of makes them a deal. He tells Seb and his father Jebediah
Okay.
that once a year in October, They are to place a pig along the border of the swamp. And in exchange for that pig, the land will provide the Tate family with everything they need to survive.
What?
Okay.
Okay.
One.
So they're allowed to
pig
go
a
to
year.
town.
Basically, they're saying, yes, if you bring us one pig,
And the swamp will.
the land will provide
Okay.
you. To keep this in mind, this is over 150 years ago.
Right.
The Carabel area already to this day is still very small and forested.
Okay.
Back then, it's nothing but wood. So for them to travel to the nearest town, we're talking days and weeks on end to get this pig and bring it back to make this deal for the land.
Right.
Yeah, you don't want to carry a pig that
Well, you
far.
can see where Jebediah, it's uncomfortable. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
And you have to put a lot of trust in that dead pig.
And you got to put a lot of trust into the fact that it's going to pay off.
Exactly.
So every October, that's what they did, though, and this went well. They were always provided for. Deer would show up on their land. Fruit trees started springing up.
So they could
on
take the deer
property.
if they were on their land. They
Right,
could
they
not
just couldn't go into the
They're
swamp.
like, just
Got it.
another 20 feet. Come on, buddy.
Yeah, come on. Yeah. So basically, this is what they did, and it went really well.
Okay.
They had an abundance of food, just like the Seminole chief had promised them.
Right.
Wow.
The problem was Jebediah remained bitter. He was unhappy that they weren't allowed to enter the swamp. So Seb's father, he never got over that fact. And so after 6 years of fulfilling this agreement, everything was going well. One October, Jebediah refused to offer a pig up.
Uh-oh.
And he told Seb
It's bad news.
that if you do it, I will shoot you dead.
What?
So he's saying,
That's
as
a little much,
as
though.
a
I
household,
feel like it's a little much.
we're no longer doing this.
Right.
So they argue. Jebediah gets to drinking. Okay?
I feel like it's time for Seb to move out.
I
That's
think
just
so.
my opinion.
He's old enough now.
Yeah.
Jebediah gets to drinking. They're arguing, and after he gets nice and drunk on some
Schmookered
hooch,
up.
Yep.
some
Toasted.
moonshine, Jebediah kicks open the front door and he marches into the swamp
Uh-oh.
to tell the Seminole chief,
Right.
Oh, no.
I'm angry.
And
That's-
Seb's like, I just put that door up.
I know, and that's the last time Seb Tate ever saw his
Oh,
father.
okay.
Jeez, he's
Wow.
gone.
He
One
never-
of the rules of the swamp is
He's the pig now.
Is doors. Respect doors.
Respect
also.
the doors.
Exactly.
He just entered the forbidden swamp. They were told not to come back into.
It was
He
very
never
clear.
comes out.
Oh my gosh, I know what it is.
What?
The swamp saw him as the pig.
Exactly. He's the pig now.
He's the pig.
Let's see what happens.
Okay.
So basically, days and weeks after Seb's dad disappears, they become quite difficult because the animals quit showing up on the property. The fruit trees wither and they die. And before long, the food reserves that they had stored up begin to run out. So this leaves Seb Tate with a very difficult decision to make. Does he starve to death?
Okay.
Or does
good
he just
option.
go, okay, I'm going to go into the swamp and hunt.
Right.
I'm going to start working my land again. I'm going to start doing.
Okay. So he's out of October. He missed the window.
What if you get two
well,
pigs?
this was. I mean, I think because when his dad went into the woods and everything starts withering away
Cursed.
and dying, he sees it as like, holy crap, this is real.
Yeah.
I think it's too late for me.
Right.
It's too late for the pig.
It's too late for me.
Yeah.
You're right. So basically, what he decides to do is to pack up some survival gear.
Naturally.
And I think in his mind, he might think his dad might still be in there. I don't know. His dad was drunk when he went in.
His dad could be living like on the hog, like
On a
living
new
the
house,
good life,
a new
right?
farm.
Yeah.
So Seb packs up a knife, a change of clothes, and what little food he had left, and he ventures into the forbidden swamp. And the first few miles were exactly as he remembered them. From growing up and hunting in the swamp. The paths were the same. The only difference was he noticed there was absolutely zero wildlife. He didn't see anything moving. Nothing looked like it was alive.
Was there a big fence anywhere?
No squirrels, no fish in the water, no big fences. The bushes that used to be full of berries that he remembered as a child, they were absolutely barren. They were there, but no berries. Okay? And so the sun had just began to set, and Seb was starting to feel like he was being followed.
Yikers.
He felt like there was eyes on him. There was something in the bushes kind of moving along with him. But he had very little time to investigate this because he began feeling this searing pain in his ankle.
Oh, he's standing on a fire ant pit.
It could be.
Just fire
So
ants are
his
crawling
ankle
up.
is like on fire at this point. He goes over to this tree. He has to sit down because he's like, "Look, I can't bear this pain."
Right.
But even sitting down, getting off the foot doesn't take away the pain.
Oh,
It's
geez.
still excruciating. So what Seb decides to do is to get up and keep on moving. He pulls himself up.
Yeah.
He begins walking. And as he is going along this path, the trails start closing in on themselves. So as he's walking on the trails, he feels like the trees, the brush, the rubbish is all moving in and making the trail smaller.
Okay.
Okay. And he
Spooky.
says, this is when the tree started whispering.
Nope.
Okay. I think you go home.
Yeah. If that wasn't terrifying enough, about 30 yards behind him, he noticed what could only be described as a deformed deer standing about 7
here we
feet tall.
go. The signs.
7 feet tall.
And
The
walking,
moons of Venus align.
right.
Now we got disease.
This deformed deer was standing about 7 feet tall and walking sideways towards him.
What?
Nope.
He said almost as if it was a ceremonial dance.
You don't crab walk a deer.
Right.
Right. As he continued to walk on away from this monstrosity,
Yeah.
he said
Wow.
on both sides of the trail, he noticed what could only be described as hundreds of arms reaching out in an attempt to drag him further off of the path. He said he couldn't tell what they were. He felt like in his spirit they were trying to pull him off of the track.
Textbook ayahuasca.
Exactly.
He did drugs. That's a bad sign. He's having a bad trip.
Right.
After that, he says everything was dead quiet. There was
Don't
no
like that.
noise.
Okay. Is he
Nothing was
alive?
moving.
Would
It
you
was
rather
silent.
something be like a horrific noise or like no noise?
I think the no noise is scarier.
What if it was?
Scarier. Especially when there was like hundreds of arms trying to get you
Yeah.
all.
Well, all that's gone now. Is just no noise. He's just sitting there trying to make sense of what's happening. And that's when Seb saw his mother, Nico.
Oh, here we go.
He's dead.
So he's kind of sitting there and he's trying to make sense of it all. He's trying to he's lost his balance. He's on the ground.
Mm-hmm.
His mother, Nico, she kind of bends over and she wraps her hands around his ankles. And she tells him, and by the way, when she wraps his hands around his ankles, the pain stops.
Okay.
And she tells
Sweet
him,
mother's touch.
it's time for
Yeah.
you to go to sleep.
Oh no.
Oh no.
And so he does.
He's like, my bedtime's 9:30.
Yeah.
It's not.
I got
9:30.
25 more minutes.
When Seb Tate wakes up, he's on the other side of the swamp, lying on the side of a dirt road.
Okay.
Okay.
So he's alive.
And the year is 1947. He's time traveled.
It's still back then,
Okay.
80 something. And two men who've been traveling by, they've stopped to try and wake him up. So they're shaking him.
Okay.
And when they realized how ill he was, they picked him up and they carried him all the way to the nearest town, like screaming for a doctor. Like, we need help.
Okay,
This guy
cool.
needs help. They put Seb onto a bench. And while they waited for help to arrive, he opened his eyes and he began telling them his story, telling them what he experienced in the woods, in the swamp, telling him about how he saw his mother, about the deal they made with the
gosh.
Seminole tribe. And he told them everything he could remember about this terrible journey. And just as he was finishing the story, the town doctor arrives. And when the doctor walks up, Seb looked at him, and with his final breath, he said, "My name is Seb Tate, and I've just walked through hell." And then he died.
What?
Okay. Wow.
So with that being
There
said,
we go.
to this day, we don't know exactly what happened. Obviously, everything was told through Seb's perspective.
Mhm.
And as the legend gets passed down, it does tend to get scarier and scarier.
Mhm.
A lot of people believe that Seb was bitten by a poisonous snake as he walked into the swamp.
Okay.
And maybe
I
he was
mean,
hallucinating.
Oh,
True.
Is there a hallucinogen snake out there?
Yeah.
There
Yes,
is?
it's called
Okay.
the hallucinogen snake.
Yeah.
Oh, it's scary.
Halu.
So that would explain, the pain in his ankles, all the, the visions he was
Okay.
seeing. But there are also people who believe that the ancient laws are true
Oh yeah.
and they should be obeyed.
That sounds right.
I think I'll go with that just in case.
I think so.
gotta play
And
it safe.
Basically, what Seb experienced was actually his punishment for breaking old Native American rules.
Was
But
really
one thing we do
dad.
know is that the forest surrounding the area where Seb Tate was found was named Tate's Hell.
Oh.
And in 1994,
Pardon? What's that?
Tate's Hell.
Tate's Hell. Okay.
Yeah, because he said, I just walked through hell.
I get it.
So the forest was named Tate's Hell. In 1994, it was acquired by the state of Florida and is now permanently closed to the public.
oh,
really?
What?
You're not allowed to go there anymore.
That makes me instantly suspicious.
Makes me
Right.
instantly want to go there.
There's something there.
Maybe.
Let's go.
But I don't think so.
So it is a spooky state park, or was a spooky state park, called Tate's Hell. Now it's still there, but you can't go because the state's closed it down.
Well, I feel safe about that. I don't want to go.
Let's go.
Yeah, I say we go and see what's going on there.
I'm not
so too.
interested.
Episode 99. What the heck?
Episode
crazy.
99. You know what he was supposed to do?
What's that?
He was supposed to shake all those hands
He
that were
didn't.
reaching out to
They
him.
were reaching out, and he's supposed to be like, "Good morning, how are you?
Good morning.
Good to
How
see
are
you. God bless
Hello.
you.
God bless you and your
Welcome
ministry.
to the swamp." Guys, we love you so much. If you have been listening from episode 1,
Yeah.
wow,
Wow.
man, we're
Wow,
almost to episode
yeah.
100. God bless you. If you jumped on the train and you've made your way through our catalog, we appreciate you. If this is your first episode, we love you just as much. It's so awesome that people still tune in and listen.
You know who I'd like to give a special shout out to?
Go ahead.
Uh-oh.
And we call him this for a reason. Day One Brian.
Oh,
Day One Brian
Running
has
with podcast.
literally been here since day one.
Yeah.
He was one of the first people to message us when we launched episode 1. And I will say this, before the show aired, we did this probably like a month long, like interest kind of planning. You know, we did practice episodes and we did focus groups and all this random stuff.
Yeah, like, should we be nude? Should we be in bathing suits?
Should we do this at all?
Should we do this at all?
That's a big one.
So
why would we be nude? That's weird.
Exactly. But when we launched episode 1, the response was super encouraging, and I think that's what's motivated us to continue on. But Day One Brian was probably one of the first people on social media to reach out. Like, I mean, the episode went live on midnight. Brian reached out and was just like, you know, hey, big fan of the show, and he's been there.
Yeah.
He's a Patreon subscriber.
Thank you so much.
Bless you. Big supporter of the show. But yeah, next week is episode 100. And do we have a surprise for you?
Not a fan.
We spent some time. Should we tell him?
Not yet.
Not yet.
Okay. Next week, tune in, baby.
Yeah.
It's gonna
If
be a
you
good
need to
one.
get yourself prepared, watch Swim Fan with Ryan Phillippe.
Right.
That'll tell us the whole
I
story.
have no idea.
Or if you want a little extra preparedness,
Yeah.
Right.
you can watch American Pie Part 3. No, FMOFM
Don't spoil
podcast
it.
on social media. That's where you want to go. We got a viral campaign happening all week leading up to the finale, episode 100. We love you guys so much. God
Thank
bless
you.
you.
Yeah.
Hopefully
Thanks
we'll
for
see you next
listening.
week. Yeah. Thanks for listening. Thanks for keeping our lives fun. We'll see you on the other side.